Hi one and all. Welcome back to the course Robotic Process Automation. So far we have successfully covered all the 3 units as per the syllabus, and now we shall start with unit 4. Okay, unit 4. And as per the syllabus, unit 4 has 2 chapters. One is chapter number 7 and one is chapter number 8. So if we cover these 2 chapters, then I can say unit 4 has been completed, right? And in today's class we shall start with chapter number 7, titled as handling user events and assistant boards. So as per the title, in this chapter mainly you will learn how to handle user events. Examples for user events are clicking a mouse button or pressing a key in the keyboard. Okay, see, all these are all examples for user events. So in this chapter you will learn how to handle these events while automating the task, let us say T. So have you remembered, we already have covered this, so no problem if you even if you have forgotten about these concepts, we shall revisit the same concepts even in this chapter, and we shall along with this we shall also learn about assistant boards. So in this, at the end of this chapter, you will be in a position to build assistant boards. So I will tell you what is assistant boards, don't worry. So again, the outline of this chapter is here. In this chapter you will learn about assistant boards, which are also called as an front office boards. Remember, front office boards are also called as an assistant boards. So don't get confused with the words. Assistant boards are nothing but front office boards, and as I said, you will learn how to handle different user events, right? So that's what here the author is telling. Here you will learn different ways in which user events like clicking of the mouse button, pressing a key on the keyboard. These concepts that you will learn in this chapter, right? Specifically you will learn about assistant boards. You will learn how to monitor the system event triggers, how to monitor the image and element trigger events, and finally we shall conclude this chapter by learning how we can able to launch assistant boards on the keyboard event. I mean, bottom line is, finally you will learn at the end of this chapter, or you will be in a position at the end of this chapter to build an assistant boards. So now I will revisit what is assistant boards means. So just at a high level, okay, in the previous classes we have learned that a robot can be a front office board or it can be a back office board. Okay, have you remembered what is the difference between front office and back office board? Okay, in other words, so in the previous classes we have learned that robots can be attended robot, okay, attended robot, or it can be unattended robot. So what do you mean by attended and unattended? Attended means it needs a user. It needs a user to complete the task or to automate a task, let us say T, right? It needs the user means what? So what purpose it needs the user? So it requires some of the inputs from the user in order to complete the task, let us say T. That's why these are all called as an front office robots or attended robots. So clear? Whereas unattended robot, as the name itself says, it will work in the background, means it will work independently. It does not require a user. I mean, specifically it does not require any inputs from a user. That's why it is called as an back office robot or unattended robot. Clear? Okay, don't worry, anyhow we shall learn this and we shall see a practical example before ending this chapter in the coming classes. Clear? Okay, and moreover I will give a simple example too in the same video. So again, the first we shall start with an assistant boards. So we already learned that assistant boards are also called as an front office robots. Okay, as I said, it requires some user interaction. User interaction means nothing but it requires some user inputs. It can't work in the background, so it needs a user. That's why it is called as a front office robots. Clear? Okay, and author is also telling that automation will run only when a certain event or user action is triggered. It seems it is nothing but bottom line is very simple. The task can be automated completely only when the user inputs has been accepted. Okay, then only a robot can complete the task T, otherwise a robot has to wait for the user events. That's what user event means, inputs from the user. Clear, that's what the author is telling here. Okay, so basically what are trigger events? Basically they are nothing but commands. Remember what are trigger events means? They are basically commands or instructions to the robot to proceed further or to do the task. Clear, make it simple. So for example, the author has given a simple example here. Suppose let us assume that we want some text to be typed in the notepad application. I mean, suppose if you treat this as a notepad, okay, notepad application, obviously you have seen this, right? There will be a menu option like file here, edit here, and there will be an editable area here. Okay, so let us consider this notepad application here. In particular, I want the robot to type into the notepad once we or I click on the text area. It means see here, what we are trying to we are planning to automate the task is, let us assume that there is a notepad application here. Okay, and when the user clicks on this, let us assume this is the text area or typing area. When the user clicks on the this text area, or when the user presses left mouse button on this text area, then it should start, then it should means robot should start typing the given text in the text area. That's what. So if you need this kind of effect, okay, then you have to handle clicking event, or you have to use click trigger event or click trigger activity in this case. That's what the author is telling here in the notepad application. I hope you understood this example. So if you have not understood this example, don't worry, I will give a simple example, and you can refer that example in order to better understand this example. Clear? Okay, so there is an example here. Okay, in order to again to understand this scenario, so what the user is first has to do, what the RPA developer has to do is here means, so first they have to drop an activity called monitor events. Can you see here? First they have to drop an event called monitor events, and there will these monitor events will have two sections. See, we can call this as an trigger section, section number 1, trigger section, and section number, this is also another section. We call this section as an handler section, okay, or section number 2. Okay, and I will come back to this in few minutes. And see, these are all examples for element trigger like click trigger, key press trigger. So this trigger, click trigger, is used to handle mouse clicks. Key press trigger is used to handle key press events. Clicker. So similarly, there is an click image trigger. Okay, I will come back to this in few minutes. Don't worry. So what actually you have to do? So first you have to drop an activity called monitor events in the designer panel. Then after that you need to use this filter in order to get this result in the activities panel. Then once you get the result, just drop that required activity inside the monitor events or inside the triggering section. Okay, as I said, there are two sections inside the monitor events. One is the trigger section and the one is handling section. So just drop the activity in the required activity in the trigger section, and drop the activities the required activities inside the handler section. So this is trigger section, this is handler section. So both these sections will be present inside monitor events. Okay, monitor events. So what we are trying to do, so just as we said here, so to automate this, or to what I can say, to build a robot to perform this task, you need to follow these steps. That's it. Just drop monitor events in the designer panel, then use this filter to get the required activities here in the activities panel. Then just first drop clicker trigger activities, and just select the notepad or the text area or the notepad, you can say a notepad, on which the robot has to or on which you are trying to perform a task, or the robot has to work on. Clear? Okay, select that using the selector. Either you can use these three horizontal lines. You already have learned that how to specify the target element, correct? Okay, then just drop type into activity. Again, use this selector to select the same text area of the notepad application, and what matter it has to be typed, that's just supply it in this area within double quote. That's what the author has shown here. Clear? Okay, and then obviously you run the robot. So once you run the robot, and what it has to do, first it has to focus on this notepad application, and it does not perform any action unless and until the user presses click action, left mouse button click action on this text area. Once the user presses left mouse button in this area, it will start typing the matter, okay, called yes I did it, according to this example. Clear? So okay, I will at this moment I will give you a simple example to handle clicking event, and then I will proceed with the monitoring system triggers, so that I think you can understand better. Clear? So to save the time, so let us take this as the target element, okay, and this is the designer panel. Okay, you already familiar with the tool and the designer panel. Okay, this is what I said. Okay, here I have selected okay, indicate an element. I have selected this calculator application as a target UI element. Clear? Okay, target UI element. Okay, and I am monitoring the left mouse button, and children, don't worry about these children. Okay, and in the action section, okay, I am just displaying a message called hi using the activity called message box. That's what here I said. Okay, there will be two sections here. I have remembered. One is the triggering section, event handler section in the monitor events. Okay, but just observe here, even I have mentioned this in the previous class video itself. Okay, there is no activity called monitor events. So this is the what I can say, this is the activity which was present, okay, in 2018 version of UiPath Studio, but now this has been upgraded to an activity called trigger scope. So instead of monitors events in the recent version of UiPath Studio, just drop trigger scope. To get the trigger scope, just use the filter and just type the keyword called trigger, then automatically you will get a result here in the activities panel. Just select the trigger scope and drop it here, and then after that you suppose if you want to handle click, okay, click trigger, then just use click trigger. Okay, so mouse or usually we'll go with an element like a click here, like that. So click, or just type click trigger. Okay, so can you see here element trigger? So this is the activity that I have used here, click trigger. Then use the selector. Okay, initially you will get an option called indicate on screen, which you people already have seen in the previous classes. Either you can use that or use this. And this is the first section. Okay, I mean trigger section. Okay, and in the second section we need to specify the actions. So what actions that has to specify? So the meaning is, once this event has been triggered by the user, okay, or once the user performed the action that has been specified in this trigger activity, then the robot has to do the action specified in the event handler. That's what the meaning here. So I will come back to the tool to save the time. So here we are monitoring called click trigger. I mean, just we will observe whether click, left mouse button click will be performed on this target UI element. If it performs, I mean if the user performs a left click on this target UI element, then that will be monitored, in the sense then that will be observed, and activities that has been specified in the action section will be executed. That's what here I am telling. Clear? Okay, now we shall see, so that you will get a better idea. So now we'll run the robot. So it is running. So just observe, it is running. Even I minimize this. Okay, running. Okay, but if I click left mouse button here on the target UI element, it has to capture that, and it has to say hi, right? Okay, can you see here? Okay, now it is monitoring. Okay, I will check this. Okay, most probably see, even whether it is one time or sequential, that can be modified here. Okay, even I have mentioned this in the previous class video too, so I don't want to waste your time. We'll go further. So this is the scheduling mode, whether it is sequential or one time concurrent. Based on that, depending on the requirement, you can set the proper values in the properties window. So this is one simple example. See here, did you observe that? So when we run this robot, actually it is waiting for the user event. See here, now robot is running, but it can't able to complete the task. Here it can't able to complete the task. See here, it can't able to complete the task, but when the user provides the input, then it will perform the action specified in the action area. Then it will okay, actually it has to stop here. I will tell you why it is not stopping. Then it will stop because the scheduling mode is sequential. So if you set that to one time, okay, then automatically it will be get stopped. Okay, now it is still running. This is what I said. So it requires user inputs. Once the user provides a proper input, then I can say, okay, see here, user has provided the input. Okay, there will be delay. You can modify this delay. See here, it will terminate or it will complete the task. So that's what I was telling theoretically. Okay, I hope you understood with this simple example. Similarly, you can use different other activities in your home, and you can do the exercise and get so that once you do, then only you can better understand how to handle the user events. So like this, with that idea, we shall continue with the monitoring system trigger events. So according to the author, there are three system trigger events, it seems. One is hotkey trigger, mouse trigger, and system trigger. As the name itself says, hotkey trigger. See here, this is nothing but a snapshot that of the activities panel in the UiPath Studio. Clear? So remember, three system event triggers is there in UiPath Studio. Which are those? One is hotkey trigger, mouse trigger, system trigger. See, all these three triggers are used for triggering activities, it seems. Okay, and depending on the requirement, you have to choose either hotkey trigger or mouse trigger, system trigger. We shall see what is that requirement. Okay, now we shall start with an hotkey trigger. Hotkey trigger works for shortcut keys, it seems. Okay, it means when you want to trigger or when you want to perform some action when the shortkeys are pressed by the user, then you have to go for hotkey trigger activity, it seems. For example, see here, when you want to monitor when the user presses Alt, whether the user presses the Alt F4 keys or Control F4 keys or Shift F4 keys or Shift Enter. Okay, Shift Enter. Okay, like this, if there is a requirement like this, then you have to go for an activity called hotkey trigger. So what about mouse trigger? So look at this window here, or a snapshot here. So according to this mouse trigger, you can say that, so this activity is used to monitor left click of the mouse button, okay, then okay, right click of the mouse button, and the middle click of the mouse button. And interesting, you can choose even a combination like Alt with left click or Control with left click, like that, depending on the requirement. That's what so this is what I said. You have to just go to the UiPath Studio, drop the mouse trigger activity in the trigger section, and just specify the target element and do this exercise so that you will get familiar. So system trigger, at last, it is very simple. It's actually an hybrid. Okay, this is the last type of system trigger activity, it seems. So this is used to trigger events on mouse and keyboard and both. That's what I said. This is something like a hybrid which covers both the mouse as well as keyboard actions. Clear? So like this, and you can use the properties panel, and you can set whether you have to monitor both keyboard and mouse or only keyboard and mouse, and whether event mode should be forward or backward. Okay, we shall see about this all this when we took a little bit complex example in the coming classes. Clear? So another interesting concept called monitor image and element trigger concept. So here, so this is also very similar to the previous case. Just instead, previously we learned how to deal with click trigger activity. Now we are dealing with click image trigger activity. That's it. That's it. Okay, see, as the name itself says, whenever you are dealing with images, or whenever you want to perform some action when the user clicks on an image, let us assume this is an image. Okay, when the user clicks on this image, when you want to perform some action, then you have to go with a click image trigger activity. That's it. Okay, and in the element trigger, okay, so obviously you are familiar with this also, indicate element on screen. In case of element triggers, there are two activities it seems for an RPA developer. One is click trigger and one is key press trigger. This is also straightforward. See here, click trigger for mouse, key press trigger for keyboard keys. So this click image trigger, as I said, deals with images. Clear? Okay, there is a snapshot here, click trigger. Okay, this is you can use in order to specify the target element. Key press trigger to deal with the keys of the keyboard, and interesting, you can use combinations, I mean alt or control or shift windows with enter key or tab key, etc., and so on. Okay, and this is a little bit an interesting example called an example for monitoring email, which we shall see in the next class. So I will teach you how to go ahead with this. Okay, this is an interesting example which we shall see, where we will understand other further concepts of the concept that we learned in today's class. So finally, I will conclude this session with just a recall. So what we learned is how we can able to handle user events like click event, click image trigger events, key press event triggers. Okay, and we learned about assistant boards also, and just we took a simple example to understand what actually assistant boards means. So in the coming class, as I said, we shall go with a little bit complex example, and we shall understand so that you will better understand the concept that we learned in today's class. So with this, I will conclude the session. So if you have any doubt regarding this, so please contact me. So thank you, one and all.